Hey guys, it's Josh over at J&H. I figured I would go live tonight. I was going to do a video review and then I couldn't really figure out what product I wanted to do, and today was a little bit hectic and we had rain and all that kind of stuff, so I figured I'll just go live and do that instead. So I think it's pretty good. Let's see what's going on here. All right, got that set up. Honestly, don't know if anyone's going to tune in. I didn't really notify many people. I just threw this up on Instagram, but let's just have a talk and we'll see how it goes. And worst comes to worst, you can watch this another day if you don't watch it right away. A couple guys are tuning in. So hi to everybody up in the comments. Thank you so much for tuning in. So let's start with we'll start with some fishing stuff, and maybe towards the end we'll talk about some other like non-fishing stuff, some stuff that I find interesting and that you might find interesting too. But we'll start with fishing stuff. We got some really good news today from Daiwa, and that was that they shipped us a lot of stuff. When I say a lot of stuff, I mean like a lot of stuff. So we're looking forward to that. There's just an absolute ton of product that we've been waiting on for so long, from Lexa winds to electric reels, some line, so all this kind of stuff. So I'm looking forward to that. I also spoke with Shimano today, and their sort of barrier or their sort of log jam is starting to clear up a little bit too. So we should see more of that. And it's a lot of it is going to be reels. A little, they didn't give me specific models yet because they don't tell me until everything ships, and then I get a shipping notice, and then a day or 2 days later or whatever it shows up. So I don't know the exact stuff, but they were telling me sort of product families. So we are going to get some Talicas, some Tiagras, some Tranks reels, some of the new Twin Powers, which I know you guys have been waiting a long time for. That Twin Power, like I can't believe it. Like the desire for the Twin Power is like crazy. It's like I get emails like every day, several of them. They're like, I'm going fishing this weekend. Where's my Twin Power? And I'm like, it's not out yet. We're waiting. I think we've received 3 Twin Powers so far since the launch, and it just is what it is with this pandemic and everything going on, and the shortages and whatever. So the whole industry is messed up, and I think some people don't realize that, which I still think is funny. But, it is what it is. But we are getting more of that. Who else? I spoke with Van Staal today. They are, it's this whole pure fishing thing. They've just been having shipping delays since last year, all of last year, and it just seems to continue. So certain things were delayed, like the Lefty VRs was delayed to the end of the month, but I'm told that a bunch of stuff is going to ship out to us because we really at the moment have very little Van Staal. We're basically sold out of most models. So that should be good. So, over the next week or so, we should see a good influx of product. I went live on Instagram the other day to talk about shortages. So I'll mention that here in case you didn't tune into that. And if you did, I apologize for telling it again. Figure a different platform, different people. If you are a fluke fisherman, and that's a very big fishery for us up here in the Northeast, Long Island, New Jersey, Connecticut, Mass, all that kind of stuff. One of the main things you probably fish with is Berkeley Gulp. Gulp's great, works really well for fluke, and every season they run out. Now, you might not realize that because you might go to J&H and see a ton, you might go to Dick's and see a ton, or whatever your local shop is, if that's where you shop, and you see just rows of it, right? But sometime in July, it's, the ones that you want are gone, right? So I'm just giving you forewarning that if you are fluke fishing and you're fishing Gulp, this year in particular, you should stock up on it a little bit more than you would normally, just because it's going to be gone, and it's going to be gone. I don't even know if it'll last till July. And I'm not saying everything, there'll always be something because they make a zillion colors and all that kind of stuff. But if you fish like white or pink shine grubs, right, and that's your jam, don't be surprised when it's like just curried chicken or just blue fuse and you can't get the white or the pink shine that you love so much that works so well for you. These things are going to happen. So forewarned on that. The next thing we'll talk about is dark matter. We are doing a lot with dark matter. Like, dark matter is our thing. If you don't know, dark matter is our house brand. And we are just continuing to develop new product under that brand. And we're trying to do more interesting things than just, series of rods. You know, you've seen us do stuff with Skinner that's very specific. We're coming out with Fishaholic rods that are specific. I'm not making 20 Fishaholic rods. We're coming out with 2 that are specific to him. We've got a trout rod coming out from Fishhawk. If you love trout fishing and you've never seen a Fishhawk video, this is a dude you should follow on YouTube. I think he just crossed like 90,000 subscribers. Interesting guy from West Virginia, catches beautiful fish, and he's fishing in these really cool locations. So definitely follow him here on YouTube. So we're going to get a trout rod from him, and that rod's imminent. We've got 13 brand new rods coming in, I think within the next week. You know, they're in the air. We're just waiting for them, including the Skinner Fluke Rod, which we've literally been waiting 2 years to make, and I can't believe it's taken this long, but it turned out beautiful. It's going to be great. It is the rod that he wanted to do a wide variety of the fluke fishing that he does, meaning, you know, back in the day, maybe 3-4 years ago, he would do bay fishing, shallow water fluke fishing, and then he started doing ocean fishing, and that was a totally different rod, right? So now he wanted to do everything with one, and he wanted to eliminate some of the problems. So one of those problems was just the sheer slipperiness of gulp. You get gulp juice all over your hands, the grip. So we added a wind grip style grip to the rear. You know, it's a split grip, so the rear front grip, right? The grip closest to the real seat has wind, so it's much more comfortable. You're less likely to slip off of it. So if your hands are covered in gulp because you're, you know, fluke fishing fast and furious, this will be better. It's 6'8". It's this beautiful metallic blue, spiral wrapped, which is what John wanted. And then in the back, it's got sort of a wider EVA, right? And the whole reason for that is that when you're leaning, when you're fishing, and you're sort of jigging the way he is, you want leverage on your forearm where you're going to lean a lot. So that extra surface area, excuse me, I just tapped my mic by accident. I'm still not used to it. I got a brand new mic. I'm not used to it, so sorry about that. But that extra surface area is just going to be more comfortable for you when you're doing the jig and bounce style that he fishes, which is what a lot of you guys have started to do, and that's really cool. So that's going to be just absolutely lights out winter, and we're doing a bunch of we changed one of the HK rods. If you've never fished an HK offshore tuna rod, last year we had a 7-foot extra heavy. The guys' feedback was, we really want 6'6". It's just a better feel for a boat. Fine, no problem. So we made it. And then we've got like 8 or 9 other models there. And then later in the summer, we've got, I can't even reveal it, but it is going to be the coolest series of rods for inshore fishing and nearshore fishing that you've ever seen. That's a production rod, like production rods. Like I'm not kidding with how cool this is. I've shown it to some people. I mean, all the guys at work who helped design it and who work at the shop, they love it. They're thrilled. We got some pieces of it today to see how it looks, but we're doing something completely different, really interesting. And I think the people that are fans of colorful reels will really enjoy this whole series of rods. And that's coming out late summer. New lures, we're trying to expand into the things we do, and we're trying to make things better. Like we're not going to create our own lure. Like you've never seen this lure before. It's brand new. We're going to take an existing lure and just make it better, because that's what we can do, right? So we are going to come out with any of the surf lures that you know of. We're going to work towards making a version of that. So we already revealed that we're coming out with a spook. It's going to be the best spook. It's actually got a really cool action where you can not only work it as a spook, but it'll work like a darter, which sounds really crazy, but it will. So that's going to be really cool. That's going to be called the Dark Matter Astro Spook, and that's coming out pretty soon. We've got a smaller Fishaholic shad coming out. I think that's 4-inch that we're waiting on. And we're just trying to expand the brand. If you guys ever think of something, or you see something really cool that you like, but maybe it's just not right, there's something wrong with it, there's something that could be better, let us know. We're always interested in hearing ideas from you guys, feedback about the products that you use. When you it's interesting, like when you when you own a business, and I'm just going to use fishing as an example because that's what I know, right? Or fishing tackle, right? When you do this, when you do something for a living and your focus is like, let's just say saltwater, right? And then there's a whole freshwater market, and there's all different factions of fishing that sort of can be like niches, right? White marlin is a totally different thing. Fishing the Florida Keys is different. Redfish in Louisiana, the way they fish in California, offshore fishing, and then calico bass, the way they surf fish in California and Washington and Oregon is different than we do here in the Northeast. And, there's all these different sort of versions of fishing. So when you're doing this, you're sort of doing your niche, right? You're doing your thing and in our case, excelling at it. And then we just see all these other opportunities and we're like, we're not really deep into this particular niche, whatever it is. We should just like get into that and sort of dominate in the way that we've done other things. And that's really the plan. So some of the things I don't know, different types of fishing, ways they fish, especially in saltwater stuff, because it's so different based on region, right? Like, you're going to fish, if you're in South Carolina, you're fishing different than you are in New York, different baits and all that kind of stuff. And then different YouTubers who use different things and are successful with them. We're up here, we might say, oh, why are you doing that? We have this, So I want to get more into that, learn more about that, and reach out to those people. If you know a YouTuber who you like a lot, you watch his videos and you say, this is a guy who could work really well with Josh and J&H in terms of sponsorships and just sort of co-branding and all that kind of stuff. Like, hit me up in the comments, email me, DM me, if you want to, on Instagram or Facebook, whatever. Super into that kind of stuff. All right, let's look at a couple of comments here and see if there's any questions. People saying hi. How am I doing? I'm doing good. People saying hi. One of the VS 150s coming back in stock. So that's one of the ones that was on back order. That's one of the ones that's going to be a while. I think they might have had black, but the silver ones are going to be a while. Waiting to hear back and know like an exact date, but my guess is probably at least another month. Any news on VR Lefty? I said that got pushed back to the end of the month. People saying hi. Should I get a Daiwa Back Bay or Daiwa Procyon? So I am a bigger fan of the Back Bay. I just have more experience with it, have more people fishing it who really love it. And, it's been out a little bit longer. And you guys know usually I push it towards the newer stuff. But in the case of that, I just am a big fan of that Back Bay. I think they did a really good job because that's really like a 2.0 Saltus. It really is. They took the original Saltus and said, these are the things wrong with it. Let's make it better. And they did that. It's a great reel. Let's see. Ultegra 2021. Are we talking about you got to be more specific. Are we talking about the surf reels? Are we talking about the inshore reels? I know that I'm trying to think if they ship some Ultegras. I'm getting those mixed up with other reels. I don't think any Ultegras have shipped. If we're talking about inshore stuff recently. I know what I'm getting confused with? Daiwa Laguna. Laguna shipped like 3,000s and I think 5,000s, more 5,000 shipped. So Daiwa Laguna. If you guys don't know about Daiwa Laguna, you should look into that reel. If you're looking for like an affordable, like a $50 reel, $40 reel that feels really nice and will do really well, even as a backup. Like if you have friends on who kind of don't know what they're doing, but you still want them to have like a pretty good experience on the water. That's a good reel to go with. Kids, good too. It's like an upgrade from like a, I don't want to say it's an upgrade from a crappy reel, but like, you know what I mean? Like you go to like a big box store and you get some horrible combo for the kids because they're kids. This is like, a step up in price, but like 2 or 3 steps up in quality, which is really cool. Sargoza's, I think some more Sargozas are shipping. I know we have 14Ks at the moment. I think we have 18s and 20s, maybe a few left. What's better for cobia fishing, the BG 5000 or the 6500? I mean, probably the 5000 is big enough. It depends how big the cobia are, but that 5000 is a really big reel. Always with that stuff, just go by line capacity. Like literally physical weight and line capacity are the 2 most important things when you're trying to determine what reel you need, as long as you know what you're doing. You know what I mean? If you're doing tuna popping, you need to know the gear ratio too, right? There are other factors, but in most cases, if you sort of know what you're doing, that's how you're going to determine which size reel to get. Let's see. I don't know, whatever size is average for Virginia. Yeah, go with the 5,000. You'll be fine. Let's see. People saying hi. What type of spinning reel should I get for big snook off the pier? That Sargoza 6,000 is a great choice. Penn Spin Fisher 6,500. Those are really good. Let's see. Can we pre-order that Astro Spook? No, not yet. Excuse me. Sorry about that. With the dark matter stuff and the pre-orders, I'm trying not to do that. We do that with every other brand, right? New stuff comes out, people get hyped for it, and you're right. I probably should start talking about it and get people hyped up about it. But I really want to get it in, make sure it's exactly what we want, and then start doing that. Don't worry. The first shipment, we're getting a ton of them, and I think once people start fishing them and throwing them, they're going to be really cool. I think that bait's like a 3.5 ounce. It's a big spook. Really good hardware on there, and it swims really, really well. I actually had Tackle Advisors testing out the prototypes late last year, maybe the middle of last year, and he actually absolutely fell in love with it. It's one of those lures where, it was one of the things we talked about, which is a pretty interesting topic that I never really talk about here, is casting, right? So this is like surf casting for the moment. Let's keep boat casting out of it for a minute. Let's just talk about surf casting for a minute. It's a skill. It really is a skill. It's like understanding your tackle and then having the right footwork, the right motion, and really knowing what you're doing it. Now, I'm not the best at casting. I never would say that I am, but there are certain people that do it really well, and I think they do it really well because they have really great form. It's like anything else. Like if you practice and you know the right format, you're probably going to do it better than other people. So that's a lure, and I think I don't even say that's lure. Every lure, if you're throwing something, whatever it is, a spook or a bucktail or whatever, if you spend some time, I know everybody loves the fishing part of it, but if you spend some time learning how to use your gear, figuring out if it's the right gear for the application that you want to achieve, like if you're striped bass fishing and you want to, throw that spook an extra 20 feet, 30 feet, whatever. Do I have the right rod? Is the reel right? What's my form like? Is my line the right line? Is it too thin? Are my guides right? Is there a crack in my guides? All these kind of things factor into it. But if you practice your form, these are good. That's actually a fun thing to do when there are no fish, in terms of just like saying, okay, I want look out on the water. I want to hit a certain spot. I want a certain amount of distance, and I want to do it consistently. How am I going to achieve that goal? And then, go and try and achieve that goal and tweak it until you get it right. And it really is a skill, which I think we take for granted because we just say, oh, hey, here's a 10-foot surf rod or 11-foot surf rod and a Spin Fisher 6500 or a Van Staal 200 or whatever it is, and just say, go out there and cast it out there. And most people can cast a decent amount, and then there are certain people who can really get it done. And then there are like the real nerds who are using like conventional reels and turning the dial on the side like European style, and that's fine. But yeah, I would. If you're into that kind of stuff, I would practice. I think that's like the way to go. Let's see here. Let's see if there's any more questions. What's a good spinning reel for cod fishing at the wrecks? I'm so much more into conventional for that type of stuff, but it really just depends on how much you want to spend. You want to get a Sargoza, that's probably the go-to. Penn Slammer. You could certainly use a Spin Fisher if you don't want to spend that amount of money. Someone talking about Quantum Cabos, which is just not my favorite reel at all. When we have the VS Power Knobs back in stock, that's another thing that we're working on. I asked and we're just waiting to hear back. It's probably going to be a while. Usually when they say wait, it's a while. I need a VS 150, don't we all? What What's the best combo for fishing for tog from the shore? That's like so new. Black. I don't want to say it's new, but it's kind of new. Like, did you watch like a John Skinner video and then get into throwing for blackfish from the beach? It's not something that I'm super familiar with because it's just not a thing by us. But I think it's like a 3,000 size spinning reel with like a 7-foot rod. It really depends where the fish are and how far you want to cast, but it's not going to be any different than fishing for blackfish in terms of the combo. I know Skinner, if you watch that Skinner video, what was he using that? I don't remember this was a while ago, but I know he was using the jigs with the, the S&S poor game blackfish jigs with a piece of crab on the back of it. What are a few lures you would recommend for beginner striper fishermen on Long Island? Well, anything super strike is going to be great. If you want something, super affordable, then Tsunami Talking Popper is a great thing to start with. The Dark Matter pencil popper is really easy to work. That's a great one. That's sort of where I would begin. Throw some bucktails. That's pretty easy, and just practice. The other thing you can do is, of course, Fishaholic finback shads, right? Those things work really well, super easy. Let's see. Josh, will you be getting any JDM Shimanos or Daiwas this year? So I've asked a million times for Shimano, and they just will not sell direct that kind of stuff. Daiwa is a little different, and things just sort of pop up super randomly, and it's like, hey, do you want this? Yes or no? And then I usually say yes, and that's how we end up with stuff like the Kyogas and the Catalinas and some of the expeditions. But I don't know about this year. I just think the supply is so tight, right? Like the market is so hot, so they can't keep anything in stock. Like everybody's buying everything, and Walmart is like just a huge suck on the industry. They just order so much stuff because think about it. Like how many down in Florida, I don't know how many Walmarts there are, but like how many spinning combos can Walmart sell? Like zillions, right? So like all this thing is going into Walmart. So with the JDM stuff, they don't have enough for Japan, let alone for the United States. Let's see. Any other questions? What rod would you put with the 5,000 for cobia? Shimano Therese, Shimano Talus. What else do we got? We are coming out with a spinning rod, like an HK spinning rod. That's not till next year. Maybe it'll be later this year. I don't know. We designed that. That's going to be really cool. There are a couple St. Croix rods you could take a look at. Stillwater lure. So someone mentioned Stillwater lures make smackets, which are like go-to top water for people around New Jersey. They are awesome lures, and we've sold them. We've sold a ton of them. I don't know if she's still in business. Super nice woman makes them. We've been trying to get them and we can't, and then there were knockoffs of them, so we didn't really like those. So we're actually going to we are doing a dark matter version of that lure. It's going to be better in every way. Really cool. We're doing a partnership with Fishaholic. Those you should see pretty soon. But that is a terrific lure. Let's see. Any chance of a Superman Avid in the MXL size? No. So Avid really hasn't done a lot of limited edition, custom, whatever you want to call that reel. I know it's just different colors, and it's not like a different anodizing or something special like that, like the Raptor camo or the Patriot reels, right? But they've never really done anything like that, and I just think we were like, well, let's try something different, and the quantity that we had to get was pretty high, which is fine. I didn't care. I knew we'd sell them all when we're down to maybe 15 or something like that. But we were like, what's the most popular size? What's going to be the coolest? And the SXJ was the way to go. So unless we do a huge order of MXLs, we're not going to have it. When is the dark matter surf casting rods dropping, and what length? So he is Brian, it's a he, is referring to the OB. So the OB we have in spinning now, and this was another one that we designed in conjunction with Tackle Advisors, which was the OB casting rod. And that should be later this year. I hope that comes out in time for fall. We've gotten that prototype, which I posted a picture of, and yeah, that thing's gonna be sick. It's only gonna come in 10 feet, and the reason for that was really, originally we were gonna do and this was in the OB spinning, we were gonna do 8.6 and we're gonna do 10, right? And the idea was well, what if someone wants a shorter rod? That would be cool. But the whole point of the OB was that it's this 10-foot rod that weighs nothing, and you could just absolutely bomb cast with it, and it looks cool, and you put a small reel on it. So we were like, why even do the 8.6? What are we gaining, as a business? What are we gaining from doing two models? We're just sort of confusing people, and the 8.6 just wouldn't be as good as the 10-foot. And would the magic still be there? I'm sure we can get the action right and all that kind of stuff. So when it came to the casting rod, we talked about it, and again, it was if you're gonna do this different kind of thing, right? Because no one really makes a rod like that, at least not in the United States. If you're gonna do something so different, why make multiple models of it and confuse people? Either you want to try it this way, 10-foot super bomb cast with a Tranks 200, 300, Lexa, some sort of low profile bait casting reel, super light setup. I think that's going to be a cool rod, even for freshwater bass fishing. Even if you have a bass boat, it's just, think of the distance you can get and how much longer you can stay in the strike zone with that rod than you can with a 7-foot, 7.6 or 7.11 or whatever, it's just different. It's interesting. It's got that short butt so you can do your thing. And, yeah, so I hope it should be by fall. Again, everything's all screwed up with, shipping and deliveries and all that kind of stuff. So we're trying our best to get more stuff. Let's see. Sorry, I got to take another drink again. All right, let's see if there's any more questions here. People talking, conversation, that's cool. What is a good rod to match with a Siegler Sg with an adjustable mag and primarily for bank fishing, pier fishing, throwing 3 to 8 ounce? I need to throw at least 120 yards. So, okay, let's throw this comment up here. I hope you are one of the dudes who practices a lot, because throwing 120 yards is a very, very long distance. It really depends on how much you want to spend. I don't know if you're going to get that distance with an SG. You really should get the SM mag. You can look at St. Croix Mojo rods. If you want to be in that 2 to 250 range, they make. You're probably going to need a 12-foot rod. You take a look at that. That would probably be my go-to for that type of fishing. Any fishing reports, finding a bunch of bunker in the bays, but no bass on them. I've heard that Raritan Bay went crazy recently, so that's sort of the start of it. I know that's Jersey. I haven't heard anything from New York. Again, I'm doing website stuff, so I'm not keyed into the local stuff in terms of how the fishing is. But if you want, give the shop a call tomorrow, or if you want to come in, that's cool too, and I'm sure we can get some more info. Is there a shortage on size 3,000 reels? There's a shortage on everything. Let's see. I live in Florida. We use a lot of star rods, but up north, I barely see star rods used on YouTube for surf fishing, just mainly lamiglass. I wonder if you guys use them up there. Okay, so let's see. I move this down a little bit. I'll go a little whatever. Star rods used to be a thing. Oh, I don't know, maybe 10, 15 years ago, right? And then Tsunami came in, right? And Tsunami said, okay, we're going to take that ugly stick customer, and we're just going to work our way up the food chain and give people crazy value for their money. And they just slowly and steadily ate away at all these other sort of smaller companies that were selling rods, right? We're not talking about the major ones or we're not talking about not Lamiglass, not a major one, but they were bigger at the time. We're not talking about St. Croix or Shimano, that kind of stuff. And then what happened was is Star got bought out by a wholesaler, and the parent company of Tsunami is really has really done the best job of any one of the wholesalers, right? In coming up with their own brand. Now there's other wholesalers that have other brands like what's the name of those brands? They sell them in Walmart. I know the wholesaler. I'm just blanking on the brands right now. It's like Mizuo Hooks is one of them, and I forget the rod and reel brands. You know them if I told them to you, but they're lower end brands, that kind of stuff, which is fine. It's just not our style of stuff. But Star Rods, they just fell off because I think a lot of these companies, what they do is they just think the gravy train is going to go on forever. We don't need social media. We don't need to reach out to our customers. We don't need to do anything new. We do the same thing over and over, and people are going to love it. And that just sort of gets old. I mean, even Lamiglas has gotten old. They went downhill really fast. That's not to say that there aren't a lot of anglers who like Lamiglas. I mean, most of their surf rods, we joke in the store is they're good at a lot of things and excellent at nothing, which is just the truth, right? Like they get the job done decently enough in most situations, and there's not a ton of in the past there wasn't like a ton of other options where people were like that hyped for it. But I think a lot of the failure of this industry and one of the failures of Star Rods is they don't really value, and I don't want to pick on Star Rods here, but I'll pick on all the brands. They don't value community, right? Like they don't look at you as a community. They look at you as a customer and as a prospective buyer of a product, right? And that's very different from building a community, right? So like the brands that continue to do well, pretty much no matter what they do, in most cases, right, have a cult following, right? And that's different than a community or building a brand. So like Penn is a big brand, but it's a cult brand, right? Van Staal, Avid. Avid spends $0 on marketing. Shimano is the king, right? At the current moment, and they have a reputation for doing certain things. These are all brands that get by on cult, what I would call cult status, meaning your whole family fished Penn, so you fish Penn. And you think Penn's the best because that's what your dad fished and your grandfather fished. And hey, that's totally cool to think that way. I love Penn. They make great stuff. Same thing with what you could say with Lamiglas. My dad fished Lamiglas, so I'm going to fish Lamiglas. It's like anything else. People are into certain car brands, right? Like I'm a Ford guy, I'm a Chevy guy, whatever. Like it's just like they don't need to really advertise for that for you to be interested in their product. But what the fishing industry lacks is the ability to say to themselves, our brand is kind of like falling off and we're not doing so hot in terms of getting the message out. We should really build a community. They just think like, oh, we should do some magazine ads, or like we should throw some stuff up on Facebook or Instagram or stuff. And they don't realize that like, that's not what you care about. Like you want someone who's going to like talk to you about the stuff you're into and, be, willing to point out where you're bad and also brag about where you're good and all that kind of stuff. Like, you know what it is. So Star Rods just sort of slowly fell off. If you don't have representation, like you can't just put something in a store. Right? I don't care what it is. You can't just put something in the store unless this product is like red hot, like tickle me Elmo at Christmas kind of hot. Like, it's just going to die. Like it's just going to die and it's going to sit there. And if you look at any store, any product and you say, I'm going to go to the store and I don't care if it's a fishing tackle store or, any store in the mall or wherever you shop, a hunting store, whatever, it doesn't matter, okay? And you just look at the product and you just walk around and you say, like, I'm not really interested in buying anything. I'm just going to look today and I'm going to say, like, what do I think is just sitting there and has been sitting there for a long time? And why is it? And then I'm going to think, well, like, why is it sitting there? And I would imagine that what's sitting there is the stuff that, it's not the Nike sneakers that are sitting there, right? Like those are turning, and those are turning because Nike's a cult brand, right? It's not the Coca-Cola that's sitting in the supermarket. It's this other stuff that I don't know about, and you don't know about it not because they're not doing TV ads or internet ads or stuff. It's because there's no community associated with it. So, sorry, I feel like I've gone on a little bit long about that, but that is why that brand and a lot of brands fall off in different areas, whether it's up here in the Northeast or anywhere, right? It's because these brands don't build community, and it's like kind of shocking. Um, when will you have the 2021 Shimano Ultegra 5000? Not sure. We are getting a bunch of Shimano. Maybe it'll be in there. Um, let's see. People saying hi. Let's see here. How much are you charging for the new Skinner rod? This is the Fluke Rod we're talking about. The price isn't finalized. I think it's going to be around 150 to 160 bucks. So nothing too crazy. And every time you buy anything that says Skinner on it, like, John gets compensated for that. So if you buy his products, you are supporting him directly monetarily, which is important to me, because I feel like, you have all these anglers who just get taken advantage of, and I wanted to find a way where they can actually make money and make a living fishing, and not just off of YouTube revenue, but also off of selling product and moving product. So I don't know if it's going to be later this year or early next year. We're going to have a new portion of the website that's going to be the influencer portal, and it's going to be really, really cool. I think you guys are going to dig it. A lot of content there, and a really great way to see what your favorite YouTuber or influencer is fishing with, and then be able to easily purchase it. So that's going to be pretty cool. Let's see. What type of rod do I pair with a Sargoza for Snook and Tarpon? If you're fishing from the pier, it really depends on what you're throwing and all that kind of stuff. But, look at some 7, 8, 9-foot surf rods from St. Croix, Tsunami Airwave Elite. That John Skinner rod would be great, surf rod. Good kayak launch spots in Long Island. I don't know the answer to that. You'll have to ask the guys in the shop. Are you on the West Coast? No, we are just on Long Island in New York, but you can always reach out to me, and we have a ton of customers in California, especially with the surf game out there and the tuna game out there, short and long range trips, that kind of stuff. Any hot new stickers in the works this year? Yeah, we do have a couple of stickers in the works. We're just waiting. I commissioned this really great artist, which I don't want to mention at the moment, but I commissioned this really great artist, and just waiting for that person to get started on a really cool project. So yeah, we're gonna do some stuff, and I should do like another funny thing. Like, last year we did Stranger Things and the Leviathan and all that kind of fun stuff. It looks to be daytime where we are. Yeah, this is like totally fake. This is not real. There's a green screen behind me. I'm literally in a kind of a dim basement right now, but I've set up pretty good lighting and stuff like that. But thanks, it's funny. Let's see. People talking about doing well in Raritan for striped bass. What conventional reels would you recommend for cod fishing? Shimano Dakota is what I would take a look at right off the start. That's going to be sort of the go-to. You can also look at like Shimano Tranks or Daiwa Alexa. You can use, if you want, someone's recommending Avits, you could certainly use that. Maybe an MXJ or an, SX a little small. MXJ, MXL. People saying hi. Can I use the Shimano Speedmaster 12-foot casting rod? Sure. Yeah, you could. Someone's recommending a Metalloid. That reel's been discontinued for a while now. What are your thoughts on Fuji Phase Light Ring K guides? So far, they've been good. I don't really have that much experience with it. I'd have to see what exact rods they're on. I know Dio uses that stuff. Fuji makes great stuff. They really do. Will you carry Okuma's new Gulf rod? Okuma's built up so much. I don't know. Okuma's not a thing with us in certain areas. We sell a lot of their lower end reels, and we sell a decent amount of Makairas. But again, that's another brand that just doesn't build community. I know you like them, and that's really cool. You got to fish with what you love, but it's not growing by us in a normal year. In this year, anything would sell. I could bring in anything and sell it, but that's not my intention or my goal. Someone bought the Makaira 20,000 for spinning. Cool. Hope you like that. Let's see. My whole family fished Penn for Philly. My dad's side, but my mom's side from South Carolina only used Shimano and a few Penns, several Penns and Shimanos. Yeah, see, that's exactly what happens. It's the same thing with using a certain hand when fishing. Some people grow up with spinning reels with their left hand, and when they need a conventional reel, they want a lefty because that's just what they're used to, and they're not used to the switching and all that kind of stuff. Rod pairing for a van for 5,000 for striper lures up to 3 ounces. You'd have to look at the St. Croix Avid inshore, see if it goes all the way up to 3 ounces. That would be a good one. If you want something a little less expensive, Tsunami Carbon Shield 2. Tsunami Carbon Shield 2 for like $120, whatever it is, really good value. Like if you're looking to spend that amount of money on an inshore rod, like that's why those YouTubers are using it, like that bright blue seafoam rod. It's really good. Thing you should know about Tsunami, which is interesting because there's like 2 camps of Tsunami. There are people that love Tsunami, and maybe they're sort of the younger generation, or they're people that sort of fell into it. And then there are people who look at Tsunami like it's not Shimano, so I don't fish it. But Tsunami does an amazing job of offering great product at a great price. They probably they do it better than anybody in the industry. They really do. And it's like what they're fixated on. And it's really interesting from an insider to sort of watch the process happen. But just from a watching customers and how things work, like they make some really cool stuff, and they do some really cool stuff that other brands wouldn't for people who don't want to spend as much money on fishing tackle. So it's pretty cool. Let's see. People talking about Penn. Let's see. J&H Pro Team incoming. You mean like pro staff, that kind of thing. I'm not really into that kind of stuff. I'm really not, I've had so many anglers come in and say they want to, be on our team or do whatever, or fish tournaments or whatever and all that kind of stuff. And, I don't know. It's just not my thing, probably because, I'm big into personal relationships and forming friendships. So when I work with the YouTubers that I work with, we try to become friends, and not friends in I'm coming over to your house today or spend Thanksgiving with me, not that level of thing. I'm not trying to do all that, but I like the relationships where you can talk with someone and just be like, hey, what's your opinion on this? And they don't question and say, oh, why are you asking that or whatever. They just answer you, right? Or they're willing to contribute and help out in things that maybe they never thought of before and all that kind of stuff. And not to say that people are all these people are bad or whatever. It's just I only have so much time because of all the stuff we're doing and the growth and the fact that I do YouTube stuff and this, you guys probably know, I dedicated, I said, let's do an hour a day YouTube because I really believe in this community. And I feel like we started off with this and it's going great. We just crossed 35,000 subscribers. And, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, watch all the video reviews, all that kind of stuff. But, I only have a certain amount of time, and I'm trying to do so much in a limited amount of time, that, participating with those guys or giving them the full amount of my time required to do that in the way that I would want to do that is not something that I have time for at the moment. And I think it's because I just haven't been introduced to people who I felt a real connection with, that I felt like, oh, this is a good guy and we should do this. And that's not to say I haven't met those people. I just haven't had the time, and all these factors that go into it, and then COVID, and it's kind of hard to like interact with people when the whole country shut down, or you got to stay 6 feet away and everybody's wearing masks and all that stuff. When's official Holic rods coming in? Couple months, I would say. Let's see. Let's see. Star drag versus lever drag. I don't think we have the time for that. What size reel does a VSX 100 compare to? Again, look at physical weight and line capacity. How many quantum accuracy think you've sold? It's in the thousands. Let's see. Jetty. Where's Tsunami's website? That's a great question. See, where is that? That is an excellent question. All right. Asking the obvious, what does J&H stand for? Josh and Harry. Harry is my dad. He is the guy in the picture of me with the permit from a week ago, whatever. Harry's story is actually super, super interesting. He's been in the business now for I think 70 years. He just he'll turn 90 this year, and I've got really cool stories. And I'd started like 2 iCasts. Well, I guess last year wasn't iCast, right? So the year before that, I brought a camera, I brought a mic down, and I mic'd him up, and I interviewed him a little bit just to like get a feel for like, how'd you start off in the tackle industry? What was that like? And so stupid, we had the air conditioning on and just hear this hum, and I couldn't get rid of it. And I have the video, but the audio is terrible. So I think I'll do it again once the weather warms up and we can sort of sit outside and I can ask him questions. But really interesting stories from working at Herman's on 42nd Street in Manhattan to being the original buyer for them, and creating that rig business. I don't know if you guys saw, I posted a video a while ago of the rigs, the American Way rigs that he did back in the day, the packaging and the pink packaging, which was really cool and sort of would be kind of cool right now. His that business got burnt down because of someone threw a Molotov cocktail and burnt the building down. That's a pretty interesting story. So there's a lot of stories. He's been doing it a lot. He's been through it all. Very interesting, and it's interesting to get his perspective on the stuff we're doing now, because it's just a whole nother universe from what he used to do. In terms of a lot of the stuff that he talks to me about is like how much bigger the business is, and also like how we're taking what he considers to be risks, doing different things that he wouldn't have done. So it's an interesting perspective, and maybe one of these days, maybe this spring or whatever, I'll sit down with him and do like a half an hour interview, and just ask him a bunch of questions and throw that up on YouTube so that you guys can hear it. And then if you like that, we'll do another one. I was trying to get like perspective of sort of the people who've been in the industry for a while. So like I asked Super Strike, Musso to come on. I just wouldn't do it. Doesn't want to do it. Or maybe Steve doesn't want his dad to come on, because he's got some interesting stories. I thought that would be cool. Anyway, so yeah, I'll see if I can get some Harry stories on, and we can go over that kind of stuff. It's pretty cool. Someone wants a dark matter bunker spoon rod. I don't think we're at that level yet. And by that I mean like that's a real niche rod. Maybe one of these days. We talked about it. We've talked about actually making it a two-piece. We have a big problem with 8-foot rods, 8 foot and longer. Can't ship them. That was the whole thing with the Skinner rod. You know, the surf rod, the Skinner surf rod, one of the original versions was a one-piece, which, you know, a certain group of guys really like a one-piece. And to me, that the two-piece is the way to go. I mean, it's so much handier. It doesn't change the action. It's the same thing. And I know people argue with me. It's not the same thing. Fine. It's not a hill I'm willing to die on. At least not tonight. At least not at, almost 11 o'clock at night here. But I would say at some point that will come. And we will make it great. And it'll be a cool rod. Someone's asking for a smaller finback shad. That's already in the works. That's coming. That should be here later this year. I think it's 4-inch if I remember off the top of my head. Let's see. A good conventional reel for the surf. Can you recommend me? I mean, that's Siegler SM. You should take a look at that. Avid MXL G2 5.8 MC. Same guy is asking for 3/8 ounce jig heads for the Fisherholic stuff. Do we go small as half ounce? We could probably do 3/8. I'd have to ask. You know, it depends on if that hook would work. You know, that VMC, is it VMC or owner hook? That Barbarian hook. Do pencil poppers work from the boat, or should I just use them normal pop? No, you could use those from a boat. Absolutely. Yeah. All right. I said I would talk about other stuff, non-fishing stuff that I'm into, just so that you guys can get a little bit more information about me and what I like to do. And I want to talk for like really short. Just if you're interested, stay tuned. If you're not, go about your business. Have a great night. And I'll see you in the next video. Okay, so for all you guys who stayed, aside from all the fishing stuff, let's put that all aside for a minute. The two things that have been taking up my attention are Tesla and Bitcoin, or cryptocurrency. And with Tesla, I've been in love with Tesla cars for, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 years, and I finally got one last year in the summer. You know, we were going crazy with COVID, and I was working like crazy amount of hours and just, you know, grinding, really pushing. And then, you know, I was like, I'm just going to treat myself. And I bought a Model Y, and I absolutely love the thing. So much so that I invest in Tesla stock a lot. And it's sort of helped to, you know, I work with a lot of young people in their late teens to, let's say, mid 20s, you know, something like that, or even to their early 30s. And they've never really been taught about investing in the stock market. And that's sort of a sad thing. So anybody who is listening to this, whether you're young or older, you know, people who invest in the stock market or invest in something generally have wealth, and wealth translates to, in most cases, a better standard of living, right? So by teaching these guys about how the stock market works, and having a stock like Tesla, which at the time was much lower than it was today, and having a super exciting CEO like Elon Musk, and, you know, all these kind of offshoots of that. I mean, while I was on here, my buddy is texting me about Dogecoin, you know, like all these sort of silly things that Elon Musk talks about. And, you know, so Tesla, I follow a lot. I'm super into it. I watch a bunch of YouTubers about Tesla. If you want to know who I watch, just DM me on Instagram or email me, and I'll send you. I'll tell you that kind of stuff. And the other thing was cryptocurrency. And cryptocurrency is interesting because it's going to be the future in some way or other. And again, it's another way to build wealth. And regardless of whether you understand it or not, or like it or not, or think it's a Ponzi scheme, or think it's amazing, it's super interesting in terms of just a topic to learn about. It's very deep. There's a lot going on. There is so much stuff. Every single coin does something different. And it's just, you know, it's almost like a hobby. Like, instead of watching baseball and learning the players' names and the stats and who's good on every single team and who's the number 1 star, number 2 star, and all this kind of stuff that you would, if you just followed baseball religiously, if you follow crypto religiously, it's sort of like the same thing, just different types of information. And it's just another way to build wealth, and it's just an interesting thing. So I started investing in Bitcoin, and now I've been buying some of the altcoins, some of the other stuff. And again, if this is something that you want to know more about or you want to talk about, I'm happy to talk about. Just DM me on Instagram. We could chat about crypto, or email me, that kind of stuff. I think that for everybody out there who's listening, crypto, it sounds weird. It might sound scary, but you should learn about it. Learn about like what it is, and at least be knowledgeable about it. One of the things in my life that has served me really well is that I'm pretty good at being interested in a wide variety of things. Now, look, if you love fishing, you're like hardcore, I love fishing. That's great, right? But you should still be knowledgeable about most of the things that are happening, in the world, right? Like not every, obviously there's a zillion things happening, but sort of like the major topics. If someone mentions it, you should be able to say like, oh yeah, I heard that this is what happened today concerning that, right? And that skill or that ability has served me well in sort of every facet of communicating with other people. If you can, identify with someone because they have an interest, and it could just be a news story, it could be a meme, it could be anything, it could be fishing, it could be anything. You're more likely to get them on your side and seeing your way, and that's served well. If you're a salesman, that's key. And if you're anything, it's key. Like it's one of the reasons why J&H is successful, is because I'm not focused on what everybody else in fishing is doing. I'm looking outside the industry and saying, what's a good example? Like we did the game, right? The game was a version of McDonald's Monopoly, right? I mean, name me the other tackle shop that's looking outside and saying, oh, what's McDonald's doing? What's their promotion like? It's successful, right? They're selling tons of food and they're doing amazing, McDonald's. Why wouldn't you look at them and say, hey, what are they doing? Because it's not a fishing company? I don't care. It's a great idea. We did it. It turned out really well. People loved it. We're going to do it again. You know what I mean? It's like that kind of thing. So anyway, guys, I hope I haven't bored you with non-fishing stuff. I just figured I would share that. I really want everybody to like, get on the idea of building wealth. And it sounds so weird. It sounds like so bougie, like build wealth and all this kind of stuff. But it is the way to get ahead in life, is to build wealth. And that could be through stocks, crypto, owning real estate, or having some sort of valuable commodity, right? I have two kids, so I talk with them about this a lot, and I talk with my parents about it a lot because it's one of those things that interests me. But I want everybody to do well. Like I want everybody to succeed, and part of the American success story, I feel, is about building wealth, right? And not in that like I have $1 million or I have $1 billion or any of that kind of stuff. Just like, there's a difference between if you rent and if you own your own home. There's different rules if you have a mortgage versus if you don't, and the tax write-offs you can do. And, if you can buy Bitcoin today and it's worth 5 times as much by Halloween, that's kind of like an easy thing. If you look at Tesla and you say this is going to be the most valuable company in the world one day, it's a pretty easy investment to make. So it's not this like whole complicated thing, but if you help a 20-year-old learn these things, learn how to build wealth, then hopefully by the time they're 30, they have a really good foundation behind them. And for the next, hopefully 70 years of their life or longer, they will have a much better outcome than if they didn't know about the stock market or about crypto or about, I don't know, trading baseball cards or, whatever it is that you love doing or that you can build wealth with, you know what I mean? So, yeah, Anyway, guys, again, I hope I didn't bore you with that last part. If you have any questions for me, hit me up in the comments below, or DM me on Instagram at jnhtackle. Email me, josh@jnh.com, and I'll be happy to answer all your questions. And that's it. So have a great night. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate everybody who turned up on this sort of random live video. And I promise we'll do this again soon. Later.